Yeah, cool. He's real easygoing here today. Thank you. Okay, you guys.
Always easy. Always easy.
Always, yes. Okay. We are so excited. Welcome Monday night, everyone. We're so pumped. So pumped for tonight's team call. So glad you are all here. And, you know, I chatted with David briefly right before this. He's super conversational, easygoing. Turn on your cameras wherever you are if you can. Put in the chat. I'll kind of be monitoring the chat to kind of help just with the flow of conversation. But you guys, we're so pumped to have David on our call tonight. He truly is. He's a master trainer. He has trained over 1 million students from all corners of the world. 1 million. Prior to partnering with Isagenix, he actually partnered with T. Harv Eker in Peak Potentials program. So I know a bunch of us just read Secrets of the Millionaire Mind as like a little book study, so that's awesome. And, you know, really what I find David, he's just, you know, words that describe him in his little bio are things like humanitarian, pinnacle leader, adventurer, master educator, goofball, and then also things like fearless, transparent, authentic, hilarious, funny, effective, and life-changing. And I do think he does. He facilitates breakthroughs for people. And we wanted to give you guys just a little taste of David Wood tonight, like a little taste of what it'll be like at UIA in Minneapolis, and just provide value on our team call. Minneapolis or Phoenix. I know we have some people who will go to Phoenix probably. But, you know, another thing that people tell me on our team is, gosh, I just wish I had a little David Wood on my shoulder walking around with me all day. People have told me this. They're like, I just wish I could have a little David Wood. What would David Wood do in this moment? It'll help me through my business. So we're just so excited to have you here, David. I would love if you could, you know, maybe kick it off with, you know, when and how you got started partnering with Isagenix and your role here, like what that kind of looked like, why you're here, what you're up to.
Sure. But first of all, hey, Jake, how you doing?
Wonderful, David. How are you doing today?
I got to chat a little bit earlier to your lovely better half.
I know.
But I haven't said hi to you. Good job on the kids.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So, yeah, listen, hi, everyone. It's great to be here. I really appreciate it, the opportunity to chat with you tonight. And you're going to see it's going to be very, very conversational. Before Isagenix, I was working, as you mentioned, with T. Harv Eker, and we were training anywhere from 1,600 to 4,000 to 6,000 people a weekend, 1,600 to 6,000 people every weekend. And we were teaching the Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, which the book you've just read, some of you. And we taught some really elite programs, Warrior Camp, Wizard Camp. And we had you could buy the whole suite of programs. Back then, there were 13 different personal development programs. And it was called Quantum Leap. And people invested a ton of money. And I was just like in seventh heaven, because there I am every week. I was teaching these wonderful programs in different parts of the world. And I really felt that this was making a difference in people's lives. And what happened was when people bought Quantum Leap, they'd come back. You know, they'd come back in 6 months or 12 months or 1 year or 2 years. And I was noticing when people came back, I wasn't seeing the shift. They were getting all this personal development. And I suddenly started to realize that personal development alone wasn't enough. That what we really needed were 3 components. We needed the right vehicle at the right time with the right mind. And so I started to realize that, you know, I was bringing people, and I believed it. And I mean, listen, some weekends I'd sell $4 or $5 million worth of personal development. I was making about $150,000 a weekend teaching what I love. So it was like a great gig, but for me, it wasn't enough, because I'm all about results. I'm all about watching people leave and seeing change, seeing transformation. And I was noticing that people were leaving these elite programs and going back to their toxic environments and going back to their jobs they hated or their businesses that were struggling. And they weren't getting the change that I really expected from the work. And so I really started to question it. And then Kathy Coover had heard about my work, and she came to a program of mine in Atlanta, and she sat right in the front row. And I knew who she was. I actually met her and Jim through, because I was the president of a network marketing company. I'd approached them about working for me when I was the president of a company, and they were retired. So I got to know them through that little exchange, and I realized how special they were. And, you know, her and I talked in my suite for probably, I don't know, 4 hours. And I said to her, I said, you know, what I realized is I want to do personal development inside a vehicle where anyone who enters the vehicle, if they want to, because remember, everyone gets a choice. not everyone's going to succeed financially in Isagenix to the highest level because they don't want it. It's simply not in their wheelhouse. What they want is either just a health change, or they want a little bit of money. And some people want, just to be able to augment incomes, and some people want to go for it and really create financial freedom. And I said, what I want to do is I want to be able to create a personal development sort of arena within a vehicle that I truly believe in. And so we partnered 15 and a half years ago. Can't believe it. And I got to say, I think I probably look better today than I did back then, because I think these products, I use them every single day. And I think there's no doubt in my mind that, I'm getting younger. And I just had blood work done. It's so funny. I have an annual physical. I'm a big believer in prevention. So I do a lot in prevention every single year. And I do an annual physical. And he said to me, he says, Dave, I got to tell you something. I said, what's that? He said, your cholesterol levels are the same as a 19-year-old. And I'm 60. I'm tapping on 60. So that's pretty, so that's kind of how I got started. And, and I've worked with leaders all over the world. I do work all around the world. And, I'm still as passionate today about it. I just love the idea that any single person can walk through these doors. And if they want to just, change their body, they can. But they have an opportunity to be a part of a culture where they can have whatever they want, And what I love about our culture is look at our 100-pound club or our 200-pound club. Where else in the world can you be 100 or 200 pounds or 300 pounds overweight and get a standing ovation just for attempting to lose weight, let alone once you lose weight? But I mean, you see people stand up and the place goes on their feet. I mean, that to me is a pretty special world, right?
Yeah, you embody our culture so much. And that's what, one of my favorite things about you, David, is, I often say, I feel like is it true? You were hired on to kind of like really work on the culture and create and build this culture of people that come in and,
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, Jim Cooper and I are best friends, and Kathy and I are best friends, and Eric and I are like brothers. So I would say that it's, when Jim and I are alone, he comes up to Kelowna sometimes, and, we'll go out on my boat. And, I mean, he really looks at one of his legacy pieces. What he's most proud of is our culture. And he realizes that, that's been pretty much my wheelhouse from day one, is to really embody, not just embody it myself, but to help leaders understand. Like anyone on this call here, I'm not here to I mean, I want you to have the dreams and goals you want, but you're going to have them in the time that you want them. And they're there for you right now. But there's also this other thing. I mean, you belong to something that's so special, and it really is. And it's only, sometimes we take it for granted. We take for granted that there's like this call. I mean, look what you two have done. You just you got 3 kids, I believe, right? 3, yeah. Three little girls. You just put your 3 girls down, and here you are giving yourself a service to people to help and bringing people. I mean, you have to come and track me down and say, hey, Dave, ask me to come on the call. But doing this in your free time to help other people step up their life, I just find that remarkable. That's why I said, why I say yes, but I mean it, because you want something for the people on the call, and I just admire that so much.
Yeah, no, thank you. And kudos to everyone for showing up on the call. We appreciate it so much. And I mean, so that really is network marketing. And I told David, I kind of broke this down into 4 parts, and feel free to put questions in the chat if you have them and whatnot. But, when I think about success in Isagenix, and for us, it's been about 6 years now, so much of it comes to belief. And I know, 6 years. And I know you're going to be covering so much on belief. It's one of the main things you speak on. But, belief and mindset around network marketing and belief and mindset around Isagenix have to spill out of you, right? I mean, that's a big part of it. Can you talk a little bit about, belief and how people really grow their belief, share their belief, and then also right now, what are you so excited about with Isagenix?
Well, I don't think there's been a time in our history where Jim and Kathy aren't more excited. Eric, I mean, like I said, he's like my kid brother. He just flew over for New Year's kickoff as a surprise. He's in Australia right now because they just had their second baby. Yeah. I've never seen Eric more impassioned about where we're at, and 2019 was definitely a challenging year for our company. For every company, it was just one of those, I mean, and if you understand the cycle, it's like marriages. It's like business. It's like they go in waves and cycles, and Isagenix has been through a number of cycles where, we grow, we're momentum, and then we slow down a little bit and flatten out, and we go down a little bit and come back up. And that happened in 2008, 2009. It happened again right now. It's just normal. It's a normal part of it. But, we're excited. We're excited about the future. But belief is something, it's like, and I use that example on stage a lot, where if I was proposing to someone and I said, I'm 80% sure you're the woman of my dreams and I want to spend the rest of my life with you, it sounds ridiculous, right? But, belief in network marketing isn't hard, but because when we join network marketing, I almost feel, and this is going to sound crazy for me to say this, I almost feel if you had to pay $5,000 to enter, or like a normal business, let's say there was a $20,000 investment to enter, with an upside where I can say to you, you can have unlimited income. And look at the people. I mean, we've got Jimmy Smith that's made over $70 million with Isagenix, 70 million. And he joined us when he was 74. I mean, it is, no, 70, I'm sorry. I said 70, 52 million, I think, 52 million.
Yeah.
But it goes up all the time. But the idea here is with sort of like the belief that we have. When we join as an amateur. We join, having not, most of us have not done this. And we go out, but we don't treat it like a real business. We don't go to school. We don't sort of, we don't apply ourselves like for hours each day to say, look, I want to get better. But any other business or sports, I mean, the Super Bowl was just on. If you look at how many times those guys have thrown the football exactly the same way and caught it and practiced just the simple thing of catching a ball, and they still, after 15 years, from a little toddler or 20 years, they're still learning how to do the basics. Sadly, with our profession, a lot of you want the dream, but we don't treat it like what it really is, this incredible opportunity to have, unlimited financial income, unlimited freedom, unlimited choice, unlimited relationships, a global business. But because we get it for free, quite often what we do is we stay like a little amateur and we treat it like a kind of like a play thing. We put half a toe in. And because we do that, when we go out, we're not very good. And when we're not very good, we get a response that's not very good. And because we get the response, which is kind of not very good because we're very bad at what we're doing, we go, oh, this doesn't work, which is, we just don't apply that. It's like if I'm guessing most of you drive a car. Imagine I took you out the first day and no lessons, no one told you anything, and you try to drive a car, especially a stick shift. I love stick, right? Because I'm from Europe. But, especially a stick shift. You'd be bouncing down the road, and most of you, if you treated your car like your business, you would quit. You'd say, I can't drive. You just wouldn't do it. But that's not the case. What happens is every single day we get better and better, and we keep doing it. And now we drive with one knee. We're looking in the back, talking to the kids. We're juggling balls. We're frying eggs, right? It's just like, but with this business, of all the things where we can really have freedom and choice, we simply don't apply ourselves in the same manner to say, how did I improve just a bit? And I'm talking about if you went on a 1% improvement a day, just 1%. If you said, if I'm 1% better today than I was yesterday, and it's in connecting, or 1% in learning and sharing the compensation plan, or 1% in understanding the back office, if I just apply the 1% rule, imagine over 1 year, 365% you've added, and how amazing you're going to be in 3 years. You're going to be a real professional. But what do? Most of us, we kind of just stay the same. We don't apply, and we won't go through the pain. And it is painful. It's like the pain of drive. I actually taught Eric Coover how to drive stick. And back then I had a little sports car with a stick shift. And I took him in the back roads of British Columbia. And do you know how he bounced down the road? We're going boom, boom. Any of you have driven stick, And so if, again, we go back to that principle of driving, if you guys want to drive a sports car and you want to be really, really comfortable, then you're going to have to do the same thing. Go through that pain of learning. And then the belief isn't a question. You're not struggling with belief because it's not really about belief. The belief is, yeah, if you couldn't fail, you'd believe. But because in the beginning you're new and it seems awkward and you seem like you're not congruent and you feel like you're kind of out of sorts, then your belief is in question. But if I said to you, listen, each one of you, You can't fail. Go out and talk to people and you will not fail. And no one's going to say no. Every single one of you are going to go out and say, I believe, I love this thing. It's so easy. But no, easy isn't what we want. Easy is not where greatness comes from. Easy is not, a life that's easy, it's when we master hard things, life becomes easy, right? So is this helping, Allison? Am I answering the right questions here?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, when we master hard things, life becomes, and part of that is the whole comfort zone thing. No, you're totally going there. So so belief in network marketing, yes. I mean, obviously some of it is, just doing it and practicing and doing better. What specifically about Isagenix? I mean, you have had the peek behind the curtain forever. Like, what is it about Isagenix that's sort of that X factor for belief that people should just be like, oh my gosh, this is truly I'm in this, you say people don't even realize what they have in front of them. Like, what is it about it that you think?
Well, I think there's multiple things. And let's start with the basics. Look, I mean, if I can pick my phone up. If you want me, I'll unclip it and I'll show you my pantry and I'll show you my daily drawer of products that I use and put in my body every single day, wherever I go in the world. And you hear me talk about this because you've been to about 8 UIAs, I think, right? I carry a suitcase. Like, I'm off to Mexico on Friday. I will carry every product I need for the trip and I take it everywhere. So let's start there. With the very nature of our products is that I've been almost 16 years. When I climbed to the top of Kilimanjaro in Africa, I took my products to the summit because that's what it's about. So at the very core, our products, just look at the before and after pictures. Just notice how you feel on these products. Even if you cheat, and most of us do cheat a little bit or a lot, but still, the products itself. When we look at the compensation plan, I do surveys in every room I go into. How many of you have made money? And it's staggering. It's staggering. We break a new millionaire every single month, sometimes two. I mean, we've got hundreds and hundreds of millionaires. So, but the idea is that there's thousands of people who are making, a few $1,000s, which is staggering because most network marketing companies just don't have that. You can't walk into a room of 15,000 people and ask the question, how many of you have made money in Isagenix? And you'll see the majority of the hands go up because we have this early money, we have the cycles for long-term wealth, but we have this ability to really start getting our products for free, which I think is the sort of the cornerstone of our success. And remember, we've done $8 billion in sales, 8 billion with a B. Think of how many lives have been transformed with that. So then you got the conversation back. Then you go back into the culture itself and you talk about the culture, and we'll say that there's no secrets. Every leader in Isagenix, I don't care which team they're on, they're going to share with you exactly what to do. Now, whether you do it, whether you choose to do it, that's up to you. Remember, you get to choose your own speed, and it's okay. But every leader, there's no secrets. It's not like the leaders are sitting there with this secret formula that you can't have. They're going to tell you everything they do, and they're going to share with you everything they do to be successful. But it's hard in the beginning to do those things because some of them sound so simple. You mean if I just do this, I can be successful? Yeah, that's actually it, right? But we have to do it over time, right? And then we get back down to the owners and the reason they started. I mean, Kathy was the #1 income earner in 2 different network marketing companies, and #3 in a third. So she's built from the ground up, like a lot of you on the call, right? Okay, and so she understands exactly what's going on. Jim was at the helm of one of the fastest growing company in American business history. So he has the corporate side. Kathy has the network marketing side, but they came out of retirement. They were already wealthy to do this. And Kathy wanted to create a home for network marketing, and she wanted to create more 6- and 7-figure income earners than any other company in history. And you can see that we're on that way. We're certainly on that path. And if you look at the companies around us, the top 25 network marketing companies in the top 25, you're going to see that most of them have been around 45 years. We've been around 17 years. We're like a little baby in this profession. So when you combine the heart of Jim and Kathy, the fact that, look, they're billionaires. They don't have to work. Excuse me. Kathy she still does conference calls every single day. She still is impassioned. She knows what's going on in you, but she's watching I mean, I could text her right now and put her on this call with you. That's how present she is, and she doesn't have to be. So they never did this for money. They're looking at the legacy for their grandchildren. So we've got the combination of these amazing products. We've got the combination of these incredible conversation plans. That means anyone can succeed, really, without any kind of previous background in network marketing. And then we've got this culture, which I think is really what I'm most proud of, is our culture, right? And then we've got these owners that exemplify, first of all, good health. If you look at them, and Kathy's 66 or something like that, and she looks like she's 50, but her body, I mean, she is a walking example of a healthy human being. And Eric and Jim are the same. So they're people I look toward, and yeah, I'm close friends with them, but I'm also admire and respect. And I watch them I was on vacation with them in Spain just recently, and I watched what Kathy does when she's on vacation. You know what she does when she's on vacation? She works with all the field. She's always there. She kind of switches off for a minute, and then she gets right back in because she wants to help each one of you succeed. To me, that's some of the reasons that why we're so different, Allison. I hope that answers the question. It's a long answer, but
I mean, there's so many reasons, and each one is going to hit differently for different people because everyone comes for a little bit of a different reason. So no, that's good. So let's talk a little, because I gathered some questions in advance, and there was a lot around connection and connecting with people. And I do think, that this day and age, like social media, a lot of people on our team are really good at promoting Isagenix on social media and doing a really good job branding online. But I know you, I watch you, you're like, you kind of have this love-hate relationship with social media. You're kind of like, I want to be present. I don't want to do it. I'll post here and there, So you're more like in-person connection. So can you talk a little bit about like why in-person is so important in network marketing, and then how to best do it? How to best.
Yeah, well, if we took away the network marketing part, and we just said, why is connecting important? Because I think that's really the root of it. I don't want it to be just, why is it important in Isagenix? Why is it important? Every study shows us that, happiness is about connecting. People, it's about friendship. It's about relationships. I mean, if you look at the top 10 things people think about on their deathbed, it's always about loved ones. It's always about, and you look at when those two planes hit the Twin Towers, look at the staggering amount of calls that were made with people who knew that they were about to die, and all they said were 3 words: I love you. They were calling people and saying, look, I'm not going to see you again. I wanted to tell you I love you. And so each one of us yearn at the very core of our being for connection, real connection. And if you look at when a baby is taken for adoption, or a mother loses her life in birth, there are people that are paid to go to the hospital and hold the baby and cuddle the baby and connect with the baby, because they show that a baby without connection doesn't grow. It doesn't develop. So love, connection is such a deep-rooted source, regardless of us in network marketing. But then if you bring it into us and you say, look, you tell me if you could sit on social media for 2 hours and you go and you scroll, however you do it. I haven't been on social media right now for probably, it's been 4 or 5 weeks. I take lots of breaks where I'll take a month off or 6 weeks off. Right now, I can't even think about posting. I don't know what it is. I'm just not, and I could choose to post because it's part of my business, but I choose not to. But if you can sit for 2 hours and see how you feel, stand up afterwards and see how you feel. Then go and sit around a table with 5 friends and make a meal, and sit there and have a glass of wine if you want, and just tell stories, and then stand up and see how you feel. And I think that, forget all the logic, forget the reason. I could tell you 1,000 reasons. Now, it's like any other muscle. I pride myself, I'm flying to Mexico for the weekend. I know it sounds crazy. I'm flying down to Mexico for the weekend. And there's a guy down there that I've met through, I'm looking to spend some time in the winter down there. And I just want to go meet this guy. I'm so compelled by his story that I want to fly down. So we're going to go fishing on the weekend. So I'm flying from Kelowna, BC, just down to go fishing with him. All right. Because I value great people, and I will chase a great person down and say, hey, I want to spend time with you. And I actually go up to some people, I say, hey, you and I are going to be friends. And people look shocked at me, and they're like, okay, all right. Because I think if you're an open, kind, generous, loving, sincere, and you're not trying to take from people. Most of you, if I came to any one of your house and say, hey, feel like a cup of tea? Do you want a glass of wine? Do you want it? If we just sat and we just caught up or bullshitted and just, hung out, you're going to feel something and you're going to walk away and you're going to think about it for days, sometimes weeks, or sometimes years. You're going to say, do you remember that time when you came over for dinner and we told all those jokes? We talk about it. And I can say that when you go on social media, I rarely would say that you can remember a week later or 5 days later or even 5 minutes later who the hell you liked, right? Because, I've watched people when they're going through, like, even Instagram, it's like, yeah, like, they don't reach any of it. It's like, oh, yeah, like, right? And so I think that there's an obligation with social media that you feel. And then there's this comparison. In fact, I heard a girl on CBC Radio today. I was driving the car, and CBC Radio, there's this young 17-year-old girl that started the Kindness Project. And what happened was she was maybe some of you, actually you're mostly in America, but there's this young girl. And what happened was she'd been in a kindergarten class that her mother ran, and she watched how all the little kids in kindergarten were so kind, and that her kids in her school at the high school weren't. And that they were really, there was no judgment, there was no singling people out. The kids at the school, they just were really beautiful. And so she started this thing. She got a grant to start this kindness project, and she has all these stickers now about really asking people to just be kinder. And what's interesting is when I heard her talk today, I was thinking, isn't it interesting? There's this 17-year-old girl who notices how beautiful we all are when we're little, and how naturally we connect when we're little, and how just open we are to everything. And then suddenly she's seeing at a high school level how closed, how cynical, how competitive, how much comparison there is. And she's saying, whoa, what happened? When did all this occur? And then we take this into the world and we start to separate and single ourselves out. And a lot of us don't feel great alone. I always say we should build our relationships from the overflow of our cup. We don't need a relationship to fill our cup. And that's what our culture is about, is learning how to fill our own cups so we can have these gorgeous relationships. But I would say that it's like any other muscle, Allison and Jake, and I feel it's one of my real attributes, is you drop me off in the middle of any country in the world where no one speaks my language. And I'm going to tell you, my goal is always to get into someone's house and have dinner with them. And I'm going to be I don't care if I'm in Africa, I don't care if I'm in the Middle East, wherever it is, I'm going to be in someone's house in a millisecond eating with them, because and all I got to do is just be kind and present and go up and just connect and ask great questions and listen and be really, the most important thing is listening and really being fascinated by people's stories. And people love to share their stories. So I think if we took network marketing aside for a minute and we said, when is your heart swollen? It's never, I don't believe, swollen. I don't care. You may get 25,000 likes, right, for one post. If you get that many, you may get 6. You get 6, you're like, oh, no one likes me. You get 25,000, you forget about it the next day, because what you do is you post another one, you say, oh my God, there's only 8 now. 25. And then so it's this kind of weird game, but I almost feel like it's a beautiful thing to do, but I think it's not real. It's not what I call real connecting, unless you're going to say to the person, let's catch up on the phone right now. And you pick up the phone from the social media connection and you say, so how you doing? And you have that little chin wag, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, totally. It's just the entry point into the connection. And I'm almost picturing social media as like this Rolodex that you're sitting, and it reminds you of people. It keeps track of the people for you. But imagine just sitting with your Rolodex of business cards and just flipping through and not actually connecting with them. Just being like, oh, I just have this, like, it broadens our reach, but it's not the real connection. And it's so true. After dinner with friends, it's totally different than spending 2 hours on social media. How you feel.
Well, and I can give you all a challenge. I mean, why don't you challenge this? I love doing this. And just how Jack Canfield and I became friends. Jack Canfield, I don't know if you know, he's an author, right? But I remember deciding that him and I were going to become friends. And I had my podcast back then. And I decided, and I made it public, that I was going to become friends with Jack. And Jack and I are great friends. I go to his house, I mean, we just have this real connection. But all I did was make a decision. Now, you don't have to make it Jack Canfield. Oh, you got it. Thank you, by the way, who just said they miss. Is that Heidi? She said she misses my, thank you, Heidi. I just saw that pop up. But, the idea that you can be intentional with friendships. I mean, what about each one of you decide to connect with someone with the intention to becoming friends and then make it happen. All you got to do is reach out to someone and say, hey, I'd love to spend more time with you. Are you free for a cup of tea? Are you free for, but be intentional about it. And it doesn't have to be about Isagenix because it's like any other muscle. And I love that. I always say my favorite collection is people. And I find that there isn't a person I meet that I can't be fascinated by. You know, and sometimes the people that kind of rub me the wrong way in the beginning become my closest friends because I love it, because they're edgy and then they're unapologetic. They don't always say the right things, but you know exactly what they're thinking. And I really appreciate truth, and I really appreciate kind of when someone's in my grill giving me some shit, right? Excuse my language. But are we a religious group? I'm sorry.
No, I think you're totally good.
I think shit bombs are okay.
Whatever you want.
Okay, good.
If it's good. Is any of this bringing any questions up for people? I want to pause there real quick and see if anyone.
Good job, Allison.
What?
Nice control there. Good job there. Good time to ask questions.
Yeah, she's great at the control piece.
I think he said patrol.
You're lucky, man.
No, I really love that last part because I think, you know, I talk a lot about just connecting in service for the sake of service. And when Isagenix feels natural for you and comes up, it will come up. But the more you're out there and serving others and meeting others and collecting friendships and people, like you were saying, then you're going to naturally have more opportunities to share your story and work some of those other muscles and skills.
I think you should ask Molly. Molly said she has no questions, but she has a ton of clarity. I would love to know one of the pieces of clarity from you, because I think that if your clarity is there, what you share may help other people get clear, because I would love to know what's one of those things. I mean, we don't need the whole ton,
Molly,
but one thing.
I love that.
She's great. I mean, it's good to put it on. Go.
Well, I wasn't expecting to have like a moment.
Have a moment.
Well, yeah. So just everything you're saying, I think, is really hitting home for me. But specifically, and Allison quoted here, is building relationships from the overflow of our cup. Like really spending time. We spend so much time like getting stuck in comparison and stuck in scrolling and stuck in all this. If we really spent that time on ourselves, like in working on ourselves, we would have so much to really build these authentic relationships. And so I think like hearing this from you is kind of like I've been thinking like a break from social media, would that really allow like for better, more fruitful relationships in person? And would I learn how to have them better? And it's like, you know what, I think like what you're saying is like giving me permission to do that. Like, yeah, I think like going out and having face-to-face and having coffee with people and connecting with people is really like what I'm lacking. And so I think this is just like, yep, go do that. Go build real relationships.
Have a potluck, you know, just do a potluck. Just invite 5 friends over for no reason. Just say, hey, we're going to have a game tonight. All that stuff, you know, it's just easy to do. You know, and it's just like, I invite people over all the time. I invite strangers over. I don't care. You know, my house is always open. I never lock the doors anyway. But the other thing is, try this as well. What would you do with that time? And so, you know, like we just started a new year. So I've taken up a couple of new instruments this year. And so I find that when I have the gap, you know, if I want, because I love spending time alone as well, but is to learn something new, because it gives you another thing to connect with. You know, but sometimes it's just that, you know, well, if I'm spending 3 hours a day or 2 hours a day or an hour a day, and if you're one of these people that keep going on, and again, I don't want to make social media bad. I mean, I just find it not very productive, and you know, I just find it very, you know, anyway. But I'm just saying, but why not look at the time and say, okay, I'm going to learn, so I'm going to make more connections. Maybe throw a party, a dinner party, or whatever, you know, go after someone deliberately. And I love that. I love saying, hey, you and I, come on, let's go out. Or, you know, show up at a neighbor's house with a say, hey, I just want to come over. And you know, sometimes people are weird about it, but who cares? You know, weird is great. And weird is different. I love it when people show up unexpectedly. And people say, oh, I'm sorry. Say, come in, don't worry about it. Then you just got to help cook, right? If you're just going to show up unexpected, then you better help in the kitchen. But I'm really loving in this time. I've taken up the saxophone, and it's just been amazing. I talked about it for a long time, and I'm probably putting in an hour a day, and it's incredible how fast it's become something I can now play. And I've only really just been playing for 2 or 3 weeks, but I'm playing songs that I love, and I'm saying, and it's filling my cup. So again, going back to the cup being overfull, and I find that sometimes, you know, you do that, you have this other passion going on. So when you are with people, there's a spark. The spark, because life when you're alone is so fun. So it's not like, you know, and you bring yourself with you to every connection. So why not bring a you know, an overflowing, wonderful cup versus sitting here? Again, I'm not judging it, because if you're using it to build your business and it's effective, then everything I said, you know, you can ignore it. But I think it's both. I think, you know, you can do the social, but if social media is not really working for you, then why do it? Go do something else, right? Yeah. Right?
Oh, we always talk about it as just one spoke in the wheel. Like it's just one.
Of course.
So that's good. Yeah. So Thomasina said, I play saxophone. I was looking at your tenor sax in the background, and a lot of people are saying, you know, this is so appreciated. I think we're going to plan our spring break to come visit your house, since you just said people are over for dinner.
All right, come on, do it.
We'll be in Kelowna. And then Alicia said I could listen to you all night. And so that was part of the goal, Alicia, yes, is for people to really hear from David. And, you know, David, I would love for us to spend a little bit of time you sharing, because how can you listen to David? I know a lot of people saw the agenda. They're like, oh my gosh, Friday night, 6 to 10, UIA, all day Saturday, 9 to 8, all day Sunday. You guys, it flies. Like this last half hour just flew, right? So I would love to hear from you, David, like why UIA? Who is it for? You know, what are they going to get without giving secrets away, but just kind of give it a good plug. And also someone had a question about if it's good for their spouse, even if their spouse isn't the one building. So.
Well, it's definitely good to bring a spouse along. If you're building something and you want them to have a deeper understanding, because every spouse that comes typically walks away with something. I want to give value regardless of business, because not everyone leaves a UIA ready to build a dynasty, but you know, they have a lot of clarity. It's a tremendous amount of fun. I do work on the belief systems. I work on managing your expectations and basic skills, learning how to learn again. But I think that, you know, a lot of people, and someone just posted a second ago from the group, a lot of people would say it's a life-changing program. I can't use that term. I teach it. I wrote it. You know, it's a life-changing program. But, you know, I do believe, I mean, you know, these two people that you've put trust in have been 8 times. They continue to come. And I think each time it's more revealing. It's a very simple program. I built it for the new mind. Yeah, a lot of leaders come. They come with their people. Giving your people, I mean, if you really want freedom and choice, thank you, Julie. If you really want freedom and choice, then in your life, then, you know, investing 2.5 days into a program with me and bringing people with you, let me do the heavy lifting for you, because I promise you I can do a lot in 2.5 days. And if you're really super part-time, I can probably do more in 2.5 days than you're going to be able to do for, you know, in a year with someone, because, you know, thank you very much, Laurie. It's full immersion, but it's also about your life. It's how you show up as a parent. It's how you show up as a lover. It's how you show up as a friend. You know, there's so many life skills in understanding how your brain is wired. You know, why is it we're not successful? Because every single person on this call has the same compensation plan, the same business, and we've got the same products. It's not like the leaders have an edge. It's not that they got in early, because some of our top income earners haven't been in that long, you know, and you're going to see the number 1 income earner hasn't even joined Isagenix yet. So it's not a time thing. It is sometimes people come in like Lynn Hagedorn, and she had a skill set she brought with her. And so sometimes we have to learn a new skill set, but much like I'm learning the saxophone, you know, it's hard. It's hard to learn. And I've got the alto, which is the big, I've got the alto, the small one. I've got the tenor, the big one. It's hard. It's everything's new. And I'm having to learn how to read music. And it's hard. So imagine I quit. But I have to apply myself every single day and so this foundational program, I believe, is a beautiful way for you to really set up a team. And they won't understand why to come, but to get back to spouses that come, I can't tell you how many spouses come to UIA who are not interested in building. And what they do is they leave with a deeper sense of the why of their partner, and a much more supportive, really clear, and sometimes more helpful, but certainly grateful they came. I can't, because at the end, people come up and hug me, and people come up and say, you know, I was going to leave after the first hour. Oh my God, this changed. I mean, I hear that all the time. And the number one thing I hear is, I wish I'd brought more people with me. And, you know, and you got to look at it that, you know, I would be banging every single drum and say, look, if you trust me, just get there. You know, they don't like it, we'll give them their money back. It's not like we're trying to make money here. We don't make money on the UIA. But the deep sense of connection is a muscle that we build there. You really learn how to connect with strangers again, really learn how to talk and ask questions again. Well, everything we just talked about on the call, but imagine having to practice it. And a lot of people think they have it. But if I was to drop you in the middle of nowhere, what's going to happen? You know, could you, within minutes, start to connect with people and feel at home in the middle of nowhere? If I took away your wallet and your passport and I dropped you in a country you didn't speak the language, what's going to happen? And I would love to feel that you have this deep ability to connect with people on such a deep level without words. You don't need words to connect. You just need heart, and you need curiosity and fascination. You need this sense of wonder and the idea that you're going to give something as well, right? But within minutes, you can feel connected. But a lot of you would be terrified because you don't have everything around you. Well, imagine you start to see the world differently. You start to notice that the world really is a beautiful place. And I know you've got stuff going on in the US and or wherever you're calling in from. But, you know, I still say that there is so much more good in this world than bad. And there's so much good that we can focus on. And life really is about being happy. And I was happy. I was broke for many, many years. I backpacked for 10 and a half years around the world. I was happy before I had money. Now I'm very, very wealthy. And I don't think I've changed as a person much. I'm wiser. But the money doesn't make the difference. It gives me choices. But the happiness is, I can be happy broke and I can be happy rich. Happiness is something I choose, and I choose it every moment of every single day and when I wake up. And I think that this is part of our culture. We each get to choose that. And if you're not waking up happy, then listen, give yourself a talking to, because we live in a free world. You know, and if I was to take you to one of the, you know, Arab countries and put you under a burqa, and if you look at a man through, you know, you're going to get stoned to death. I mean, we have such freedom to do everything, and we're in a business that's complete freedom. I know I'm preaching a little bit. I don't mean to, but get to that event, and I promise you're going to come up to me at the end and you're going to say, David, thank you. And not me, because other leaders will train you as well. It's the environment that we create. It's the container. It's such a powerful container. And you ask anyone on the call, in fact, anyone who's been to the UIA, if you agree with me, just post, you know, give it a rating out of 10 out of 10. If it's 10, it's exceptional. So if you've been and you say, oh, look, 10 out of 10, that's Kimberly, 50 out of 10, 50 out of 10, Russell 10. So don't let me tell you, because I mean, I'm not trying to sell you, because again, I make no money on the UIA. That's not what I do. I do it because I went to a 2.5-day program when I was a dishwasher in this town. That's how I started here, washing dishes. Now I'm a multi-millionaire, right? So I believe that right vehicle, right time, right you. Everyone can have it. You can have whatever freedom you want, but we got to change. If we haven't got it right now, there's something you don't know. And we got to change that thing in your brain that's stopping you, because it's stopping you. You have the right products, you have the same company, you have the same compensation plan, you have the same culture. So the only thing that's in the way is what's in your head. And if we can adjust what's in your head, right vehicle, right time, right you can have whatever you want, but you got to do the work. It doesn't come free. My life didn't come because I didn't do the work. My life came because I did the work, and I live life with an overflowing cup. And I approach people with a kindness and a curiosity that's contagious. And those things aren't hard to learn. I didn't say I had a Harvard degree. I didn't say that I went to school for 12 months or took 5 years to learn this. This is something we practice in the elevator. We practice walking to work. We practice when we drive our car. Are you conscious? Do you let people in? Are you kind every minute? I mean, kindness is, I think, one of the greatest muscles. And we live in a profession in network marketing and Isagenix. We have a vehicle that really allows us to be incredibly kind all the time. And it's frustrating. And it's hard at times. And people leave. And people you think are going to build the business don't. All that normal stuff. But that's what makes us great. You know, growing through those pains is where we grow into, grow into our greatness. It's not if it was easy. If this was just easy, right? it wouldn't be the same. It's who we become because of the journey, right?
Oh man, those are some serious mic drops. Yes, it's who we become, and it's
boom.
Yeah, totally, you guys. And like the very last line, I had David's bio here. I did put it in our group before this, but the very last line, he likes to say, out of all that he's accomplished, that his greatest accomplishment is being the proud father of his 2 sons, Calvin and Ben. And he says that all the time. And that's being a family man. That's being a dad. That's changing the world through his sons. That's, it's like there's so much there. So, and he just shut off his no.
No. Somebody called my phone, so it blocked
no, you're good. He's like, that's it. That's what I got. No. Okay. So, I mean, really, you guys, that's kind of what we had planned for today. I know there were a couple other, Lisa or Becca, if you want.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. Is there anybody has any question whatsoever? Because I'm happy. I love your passion, you two. And, rather than skip off, if you have a question, don't leave it in your head. Ask the question.
Now's the time, people.
All right. And I'm willing to stay on because we were going to do a 30-minute call. I'm happy to stay if you have a question. But I wanted to, what's standing in your way right now? And if you have one, ask me. I'll be happy to coach it or answer it. Come on, you big chickens.
Someone will talk.
Yep.
What do you think people would? Someone typed a question.
How much would a UIA type training cost outside of Isagenix? Like, what's the worth of it? Is that question?
Well, I charge, again, I do some high level programs and, I charge up to $10,000 a day, right? Per person. So, that'll give you an indication, but with peak potentials, that program, 2.5 days, probably, anywhere from $1,600 to $3,000 maybe. I don't know what people pay. Is it $100, $200, $300? I'm not even sure.
$199.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's too cheap, right? It's too cheap. That's probably the problem. If you have to go and borrow money to do it, you'd be like, oh my God, this is a big investment. I'm going to show up with the right mindset. It's like, $200 is too much, right? If $200 is too much money, hold on, let me just. Yeah. If $200, I tell you what, I'll teach you something. There's a thing called a default mode. Everyone has one. So when an opportunity shows up, what most people's brains do, they go into normally two places. I can't afford it, and I don't have the time. That's called a default mode. And you're in the mode of saying those things. You say to your kids, oh, Mom, can we? No, we can't afford it. Hey, I don't have the time, right? So what I like to challenge people is you have to, your brain is like this massive computer, and you're not using much of it. So what you do is you change it. You say, how do I find the time, and how do I find the money? That's all you do. The only difference is if your heart's saying yes and you haven't got the money. By the way, if you can't afford $199 and you can't afford a weekend, then you seriously need to get there. Because if you don't do it, what's going to happen in a year? You think suddenly everything's going to change in a year? If $200 is hard, by the way, and I'm not making fun of you, I'm just saying if it's hard, and I remember what it was like when I was broke, right? And it wasn't that long ago, but, if it's hard, then you definitely need to do something differently because, obviously what you're doing isn't working. And someone said that to me once. They said, look, Dave, if you don't have the freedom and the choice and the money you want, there's just something you don't understand. And I started to really think about it. I said, well, what don't I understand, right? And so when I started to understand what I didn't understand, I became rich and happy, right?
Oh, totally. Yes. Any other questions people have? Lisa, I know you put one on the chat or on the thread.
Fred. Hello, Fred.
It's a good one because there are a lot of people here. She said, what advice would you give to someone just starting out? Lisa.
Well, that's a great question, Lisa. First of all, I would say if you're on the call and you're starting out, the probability, there's a high probability you're going to quit. Let me just tell you that, right? And you want to really let these words settle in your heart because I don't want you to quit. But there's a high probability you will because you don't understand what you've got, right? You don't understand that you're surrounded by very successful people, millionaires and billionaires, by the way, but millionaires, multimillionaires who are willing to coach you like I am right now, to train you and to help you. And if you're starting out, just just absorb these products and understand that you're not, see how you feel. Like me, I will, if you want, I'm going to take you over to so you can see, because I talk about this from stage all the time, how much products I use every single day, right? But I just want you to get, is like, fall in love with these products in a way like I have, that you wouldn't go a day without them, and understand the importance of your health, right? Just the importance of that, and the investment of you being healthy on the inside of your body, and it's showing on the outside of your body, and understanding that you're worth it. And America, you know, you have the worst diets. I mean, I travel all over the world. I mean, America has a terrible, terrible approach to food. It's just awful, right? And so, you know, you live in a culture that isn't very conducive to health. So, you know, getting that in your body, and then do this. Sit down and write just a little dream, just a sentence about 10 years from now, what do you want? If you could have anything, and you can, what would it look like? What do you want your life to look and feel like? And then ask yourself one other question. If you keep doing what you're currently doing, would you be able to have that little dream life that you want? And if you're starting out, it's hard to dream. For a lot of people, it's hard to dream. And it's hard to believe that you can become your greatest self. You know, and when we understand how the brain works, most of us we become byproducts of our environment. So if we grow up around cynical people or broke people or heavy people or whatever, we end up becoming more like that. We end up becoming more of a byproduct of this environment. Now you're around an environment where people are extremely beautiful and kind and wealthy and generous and whatever, and you can become like that. So I would just say, first of all, really understand what you're putting in your body and commit to it for 10 years. Commit for 10 years. Because if I said to you, if I was sitting to you and you were just leaving school and I said to you, look, I'm going to coach you for 10 years and you're going to become a multi-millionaire or a millionaire, just a millionaire. But you're going to have freedom and choice. You're going to travel the world and you're going to have a global business. Most of you, if I sat down, you say, I didn't, because people invest in becoming doctors 7 to 12 years. People invest in all these different things and they go to school for 8 hours a day. That's our problem. We don't treat it like we have to go to school and learn it. But imagine you just applied yourself into this environment and that you made a decision that from 10 years from today that you're going to have freedom, but you're going to do that 1% rule. Only get 1% better every day. I'm not telling you to go out there and go, wow. I'm just saying do 1%. Know that you're 1% better today. In everything, you just look at it and say 1% better. That's what I do on the sax, a 1% rule. And I 1%, and I'll sit there until I'm 1% better. And I'm just like, you know, and my teacher said, and again, I know this is going to sound like bragging. I don't want it to, but I think it's a great example. I've been playing less than a month. And he says that I'm playing at the 1.5 year level. 1.5 year level at my saxophone. 1.5 years. He's already given me pieces of music. And I couldn't read music less than a month ago. All right. And I'm just telling you that that's what the 1% rule. Hold on, wait there. I'm going to show you something real quick. So look, that's what I'm playing right now. Look, right? This is in less than a month. This is the 1% rule at work, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and I couldn't read music a month ago. Now imagine you take that same philosophy and because I'm not someone who teaches what I don't do. If you walk in my house, I want you to see that I'm a living example of what I just speak about, because it's easy to bullshit you and make up these stories. But if I said to you, apply the 1% rule to everything you do in connecting, you say, am I 1% better? What would it take to get 1%, one tiny percent better every single day in the things I do? If I'm going to do it, I might as well be really good at it. And how do I get good? Well, I'm aware of where it's at. And I think, hey, oh my God, look at that. So I'll sit there after this call. Before I cook my dinner, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to play at least 4 songs, the ones I'm struggling with, and I'm going to keep playing them until by tomorrow they're better. And when I get that 1%, then I'll make myself dinner. Right? That's the rule. So that's what I say to a new person is if you want it, if you want the dream, if you want to have everything, you can. But you need the right vehicle, right time, right you. And that means that you've got to sit here and say, 10 years from now, I'm still going to be here. Look around. Look at the leaders that you admire. Listen to their stories. You know, we got people who are multi-millionaires that are butchers and actresses and cabinet makers. And I mean, people from all walks of life who've managed to create the freedom that you're looking for. And guess what they did? They just got a little bit better and they treated this like a business and they were in it for the long term. And it's going to be hard in the beginning and you're going to be crappy in the beginning. You're going to be the worst network marketer in the beginning. Accept that. Because if your grandson was playing basketball and you gave it to him for the first time, he's going to be crappy for a long time until he can start making free throws. And when he does, you're going to say, oh my God, look how, you'll be so proud of him. You're going to know he's out there every single day practicing, and he's going to miss thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times, and then he's going to start hitting them. And that's what you're going to apply that same principle, and you're going to feel great. Because that 1% where you're like, hey, you get this little confidence going on saying, hey, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Instead of saying, oh God, my sister said no, I must be terrible.
That's, yes.
All the time.
It happens to all of us, people. And the good thing about that example, Lisa is a music teacher. So you giving the music right there on the screen, she's a music teacher. How ironic was that? That was perfect.
So she'll know how hard that is. And that's all one breath.
That looks really, she said, that is really difficult music to read. Good for you. Bill, do you want to ask yours?
Yeah, Jill, that's a very, very good question. I love that question. I'd love to hear your voice say it. Where is she?
Jill.
She's right there.
Come out. Hey, Jill.
Hi. Sorry, I didn't know I was going to be put on the spot.
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, thank you. Thank you for setting this up, Allison and Jake, and thanks for being on, David. So I love connecting with people in person. I love that relationship piece. I love helping people get healthy, feel good. That part is like my passion. And then where I struggle with Isagenix is shifting from that product piece to sharing the business end of it and getting them to then share and see that business side. And so any tips you have on, I guess, that shift of they're starting to feel good, love the products, and then shifting to kind of wanting them to share how good they're feeling?
I think it's a great question. I think there's two things. First of all, for you, is how clear are you on what you want? Like your clarity and why you want it. Why do you want to do this? And because, a lot of the times the objection that we have internally is the one that shows up the most. So if money's an objection for you inside, if you think it's a problem, then it seems like everyone you speak to has a money problem. So, our objections manifest, right? But I think that understanding that if you looked at there's a product user, a customer, which is the lifeblood of your business, and you get paid on the consumption of product. You don't get paid on people. You get on the product consumption. And that 80 to 90% of everyone that joins your team is going to be a consumer of products. And that's great. Because imagine this, I've been using products now for 16 years. Isagenix products, and the person that introduced me still gets paid every single month, right? 16 years, they get paid every time I buy products. And I buy a lot of products, right? So, so think of that, right? And so you got the product user. Now, sometimes a product user will share it with a couple of people, and we kind of start treating them like a business builder because they kind of like half in, whatever. They may say, yeah, I'm kind of interested, but they're not really interested. They'll say that to you, but they don't. And how do you know if someone's really interested? Well, ask them to do one thing and see if they do it. Invite them to a call. If they don't show up, they're not really that interested, or they haven't really understood why they should, that it really exists for them. So I think that we get in the habit of treating product users as if they're going to be business builders. And I think that we have to really just be discerning that there's product users, and there's product users who share a little tiny bit, and then there's product users that share and they want to get free product. And that's a great product user to have. They just kind of really want to get their products for free. And they're okay to share it with a couple of people. Now, at that point, if they're there, we kind of want to get them to an event. What we find is that they can't see the bigger picture. And it's hard for you to share it if you don't believe in it. If you're not 100% believer in the big picture yourself, and you're kind of like, well, I'm really struggling to get business builders. Well, because if you're batting, 90% of the time that they're going to be product users, then let them be product users who share a little bit. Let them give you referrals. Say, hey, instead of you want everyone to be a business builder, and then when you get clear and you start having conversations with, let's say I'm talking to Allison and Jake, and I say, tell me about your daughters. What is it you want for them? And I start understanding their world. And they start to say to me, yeah, Jake's really not enjoying his work right now. We'd really love to do something else, or we'd love our kids to go to private school. And we start to hear that, right? And then you start to hear that they want something other than what they have. And then the question is, hey, listen, if I was able to show you a way where you could, would you be really open to looking at it? It may take you a month to really look at, but why don't I introduce you to some people that are doing it, but really get someone and understand that there's a burning desire. And normally it's a crossroads. Most people who build Isagenix build at a crossroads. Something's happened and they had kids, they got a divorce, and there's a crossroads that forces them to go and want to build now. And build, I'm talking about build. And so you've got different levels of builders. You've got the part-time, super part-time, who love the culture. They kind of build, they talk to a few people. And then you've got the people who build a little bit more than that, and they just want a few $100s. And you've got the builders. So if we looked at it, that every single person you spoke to so far fits into one of the boxes. And they can move boxes. Everyone can move boxes. But sometimes you're not necessarily it may not be a time for them to move the box, because they're comfortable or this or whatever like that. And something happens, but you've stayed in relationship. You know exactly that they're a customer who shares sometimes or a customer who refers to you, right? But I just think we get a disease where we think my sister has to build this business. Why can't your sister just be a customer? And if she has a friend that wants to do it, why can't you enroll them? Say, listen, I'll enroll them. You could do this, but let them enjoy being customers, and we can allow ourselves to find real business builders. But they're like the 3 to 5%. So you may speak to 100 people and find one, or 200 people and find one or two that really want to build the same way you do. And as long as we get right with that, but you're going to get paid on all the others, and they're still going to start doing a little bit. And when a lot of people do a little bit, there's an old saying, I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's effort than 100% of my own. You can be so wealthy. But if every single person you think, oh God, you're going to be a business builder, ask them to do something. Say, hey, listen, do you really want it? Hey, come to a meeting at 7 o'clock tomorrow. They don't show up. Guess what I just told you? They don't really want it yet. But it doesn't mean that they don't want it at all. It just means that you're going to have to work on their vision of what they could have and let them fall in love with the product. So I think and Allison and Jake, you can talk about this. You're 6 years in. What's your opinion on the question?
Oh, yeah. It's a dance for sure. And I think, I agree. If you have the vision for your life and you can help others see the vision for their life, it's asking questions and then that unshakable belief that they can take this, create what they want out of their life, like their dream, whatever they are dreaming about, And Jill, we've talked about that a ton, getting to people's why, asking the questions, digging deep. It's emotion, it's getting to the emotional piece too.
Well, and their pain. Jill, the pain, if someone's in pain somewhere and you could help them. And sometimes, when you create a culture within your own team, because you got the culture of the company, but what's your team culture? When like you guys, I can tell they've got this great culture. And Allison talked about you all before. We only talked for like 3 or 4 minutes, but she said, I love my team. She said, my team are great. She said, I know I'm biased, but here she is talking about you all with such reverence and such beauty. And if you could hear what she says about you behind your back, that she is invested and Jake's invested in you lot, and they love and see something in you. And they've been around long enough to know that you're all building this at your own speed. Now, if you want it faster, you can go faster. No one says you have to go at any speed. You can go faster anytime you want. And that is, and Kathy would say it's actually easier to build fast than it is slow. And she'll say that it's, when you start to run, if you want to, again, remember, if you have to want this, if you want to run, you're still going to endure the peaks, valleys, and plateaus of a business build. In other words, you're going to go up, you're going to go flat, you're going to go down, you're going to go up, flat, down, because that's how business is. Look at the stock market today. Look at how different it is. I look at the price of oil today. It's down below $50 a gallon, and that's the first time in like 3 or 4 years, 5 years, I think, since it was that low. Why? Because there's something going on in China, like some kind of disease, I don't know what it is, an epidemic, whatever, and it's driving the price. So if you looked at the stock market yesterday, it's like this, and now it's like, and then the oil's gone. That's life. And our business is going to look like that. And when we get right with that, we can build dynasties and you can have freedom. But if you don't get right with the fact it's going to go up and flat and down and up again and flat, and it's going to represent a little bit of our own action, then, and this is why it's beautiful. And if it took you 10 years to create absolute freedom, look, I didn't create all this in one day. I've created this over the last 20, 30 years. And I have now the mindset and the vehicle to create whatever I want.
Yeah.
Mindset.
Mindset. So big. Jill says thank you.
You're welcome, Jill. Did that answer your question, Jill?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Yes, and I realize we've been going for a while. So David, you tell me. There's one more question in the chat. Russell said, which I know I've heard your answer before. How do you change your environment every morning when you wake up to set yourself up for success? What's your morning environment?
Well, to talk about morning rituals, right? I use water. So whenever it doesn't matter how I feel when I get out of bed, whenever I have a shower, when I walk out of the shower at 100%. In other words, because I get to choose. I mean, I woke up hungover. I woke up, sore. I woke up, sometimes I got something, going on. Right now, I hurt my shoulder. So, it's not, when I'm in the gym, it hurts a little bit. So I could be like, oh my God, my shoulders. Or I can still wake up and have a great workout and a sore shoulder. I can still do both. I can have the pain and the great day. Right? I don't have to say, because this is, I'm seeing a chiro right now to try and get it sorted out, but it's been like, 6 weeks of pain, but I don't focus on it. I focus on all the great things, right? So I walk in the shower, and I know that when I walk out, I'm going to be at my optimal state to the way I want to live my life. And I'm always looking for passion. I look for passionate people. I look for passion. I want it to ooze out of me. I don't care what I do. I get to choose the level I want. And I'm not like, I'm not crazy all the time. So sometimes I just want to sit and relax. So I sit here and I've got this beautiful vista from my home, and I just chill, or I go and sit in a hot tub and I enjoy it, or whatever I do. If I have to do a job I don't love, I do it as if I love it, because when I do it, I feel great. So if I had a job right now, some of you are working for people you don't love. What if you went there tomorrow and you decided just to be happier at work and be more connected and be more positive? Watch what happens. You're either going to get like a promotion, or you're going to start to attract something new. But a lot of people are like, oh God, I hate my job. So when you walk out, you go, and how do you hate something? How do you go to it and hate it? Why not, if you have to do it, in other words, if you're in a financial situation where you have no choice, then why not love it? Why not bring all your passion to it and go there and walk away thinking, I had a great day at work today? Because you still get, I was a dishwasher. I've done some of the shittiest jobs, but I always did them with such passion, and people around me always were infected by my good spirit. I mean, so we'd be there, and we'd be singing I worked in Israel in a kitchen that fed 800 people every sitting, and I was the dishwasher. I did all the dirty pots that got burned, and I'd be scrubbing, and I had all these old Israeli ladies singing and clapping. We'd be in there just giving it. Why? I have to do the shitty job anyway. So why not do it with so much fun and passion? And guess what happened? I got noticed. I got pulled away, and I got offered this job as a sports facilitator because I was so good with people. So I went from shitty pots to running a hotel, or running the sports thing for the hotel, and they even gave me my own car. Look at that. And it was like a millisecond. All I did was I showed up with a great attitude, because it's infectious, right?
So infectious. Yeah, I think that's, I have nothing else to say on that. It's true. We choose our joy. Barbie, you said that. It's all a choice. Choose joy. And Heidi, your perception creates your reality. Create joy.
Reality.
Good. I think that's what we have.
Yes.
I realize where we are. It's 10:09 p.m. I know a lot. What time is it there? Are you? I
told you that we'd go long. Hey, everyone, just one word about what you learned. One word, or your vision. What you're going to do with this? Because it's like hearing it's one thing, applying it, but one thing, one area that you want to focus. What is it? So give us something so we know that this was worthwhile. Because otherwise, we just spent an hour yakking, and nothing's going to change. 1% better. Love it. Go to the UIA. Collect friendships. Nice.
Invite to
Connection.
UIA.
Invite to UIA. Choose joy. Yeah, 1% better every day. Yes.
Get offline.
In everything. Fill my own cup. Yes, 1% better. Commit to 10 years. Yes.
One word. I love it.
Well, these are one words.
These are so good. Yeah.
Overflowing,
More
challenge.
faith-based connections. Focus on what's good, not just the pain. Conviction into action. Oh my gosh, these are so good.
This is my favorite part of the call right here.
And this is pouring into David's cup. So appreciate you all doing it, because he likes to hear, what landed.
Well, yeah, but what I want to see is results. I just know that. And whatever it is, even if, again, you're not going to charge tomorrow in your business, but you charge into the products more, or you charge into the belief. But, you get to sort of start to notice that you can control your environment. Environment is everything. And so knowing that we have that much power, right? if you want a great life, you can have it. The money, you can start living the great life now and watch what you bring. It's not like, well, when I get this money, I'll have a great life. No, have a great life today. This month, wake up tomorrow with the best mood you've ever had and watch what can happen, right? Just walk around and start noticing. Find 50 things tomorrow you love. Just notice it. Say, I'm going to count up 50 things. 50 different things that I'm going to say, wow, I haven't noticed it. I walk by it every single day and I didn't notice. And I'm just starting to notice what's great. And when you do that, it really is so amazing that I know it sounds kind of odd, but when we notice what's great, guess what happens? Great things happen because you're starting to put out this kind of like, wow. And it's this living in wonder like a little kid does. There's this curiosity and fascination that's so beautiful. Look at your 3 daughters. The youngest one's like, oh my God. And they're looking at poo. Oh, it's like amazing. Right? They're looking at it.
Oh,
I'm not saying you should look at your poo, but.
Oh no, they do.
Right.
That's good. Mia does that. So yeah, you guys go up to David at UIA when you're there. Thank him again for the call in person. Give him a hug. It's going to be an amazing weekend. We all can't wait to see you there.
Get your tickets now. It will sell out so shortly. It's going to be crazy. Thank you so
We
much,
love
David.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate everything. Bye, guys.
Are you playing an exit song?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, we got your exit.
Play the exit song. Come on, let's have some music out of that.
Is it the same song? I can't remember.
Yeah, we'll just do the same
Yeah,
one.
we'll do the same one.
Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Yeah, here, see, I'm all flustered.
2 seconds for this
I got
commercial to go
I got
through.
it.
There it is.
Everyone's gonna have the best day tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. See you, everyone.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone, for staying on. We love you.
Thanks, Jake.
Yes, let's see how look at it. Melissa, I owe you a message about the breadsticks. I will send it to you. The tree. I'm talking to you. Melissa, you wanted the chicken breadsticks, right? Here, I need to hit stop.